Well, I'm here. Wherever this goes,
you're here for it.
I'm part of the journey.
Okay, do we have the headphones in?
Yes. It's real.
I can't.
Is that too loud?
Not for me.
Nope. Yes, sir.
Like this double extension off of the extension.
I was wondering how it was working so well over here.
Downstairs.
Happy Halloween,
Yes.
friends.
It's almost like you feel invigorated. Like your whole year could be shit, and October hits, and you're like, I'm alive.
I'm
alive.
fucking
Yeah,
here.
nothing's wrong. This is great. And just to set the mood, the weather outside, it literally just changed yesterday.
I think.
Yeah,
Summer ended, and it's like you guys are doing the pod. I'm gonna creep in with some Halloween feels. Oh, the fall is beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, especially up here.
I can't believe it's been like 2 months since you were on.
Has it been
The
that
last
long?
time?
Yeah, about that.
That flew by.
It did.
That was fast.
So welcome back. And it's been a year since we did.
Since our.
I'd be curious to know what the day that we recorded that one was.
I don't fucking know.
Okay.
The first one?
The serial killer one.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. That wasn't.
Because I mean, it might be close to the day. Because I remember we did it before.
We did it before Halloween. Yeah.
But
that was super fun.
yeah,
That was.
It was a really good time.
I know. I think. Sorry, I got noise canceling on this, and like I can't tell if it's on or off. We're good.
How are the ears? Did they rectify
Oh,
themselves?
dude, ears are great.
That's so good. I've
That
been
was
thinking about
scary
that.
for
Yeah.
me. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't like it. I didn't like that at all.
But it cleared up.
It just cleared up. I guess I had some fluid or something like expand in my ear. That was it.
Says WebMD.
It says like I guess yeah.
I got a guy.
Well, WebMD's fucked because it has the answer and then it has all the reasons you're dying.
Exactly.
But somewhere in there,
Emily
there's
loves WebMD, and then going, "Oh my god, I'm dying." And I go, "You're not dying."
Okay, back up. Hit the back button. Unclick all of the body parts real quick. Let's start from the top.
for someone with anxiety and like who's constantly worried about shit, that's the worst website for me.
It's the worst website for a lot of people.
And I don't think anybody should be Dr. Google. I think that's so dangerous. Well, then you go to the doctor and they're like, fucking Googling
have you
shit.
Googled it?
No, they're in there and then they're like, so you have, and they're like, I'm like, wait, you're Googling an internal database or something.
Like at least use Bing or
Yeah,
something. Like make it seem like you're not just
DuckDuckGo.
I'm just wondering how I can't be doing this. You know, like,
Yeah,
we're in
did
the
you want
office.
me to? Do you want to Google that, and then I'll Google like
Yeah.
another
Well,
thing?
tag team this
Yeah.
research or what?
Yeah, you go WebMD, I'll go
Can I
Wiki.
get your works cited page though?
Yeah, and then they like control tab to like a system from the 1970s, like
Yeah.
where they type in like height, weight, and then they just switch back over to Google and type in all your symptoms.
It's scary though, because you go in there for like an answer, and
You come out with more questions.
Well, yeah, and they're sitting there, you know, like going through symptoms on this internal checklist, and you're like, but I already did that. That's why I'm nervous and fucking freaking out.
That's why I'm here. Like,
Yeah, like I need you to help diagnose. We can't turn to the web now.
No.
Anyways, I just felt like modern medicine is probably great. It's better than it has been, but it's also trying to service so many people that they cannot take a personalized approach to it. There's just no way. It's fast food. You drive in, get your diagnosis, most likely wrong, go away, and then you come back again because they can service you again. You know, just email us. We'll figure it out. Come back if you're dying, then we can do something. That's how I feel. I feel like it's not. But I want attention when I'm like freaking out.
Yeah.
You know,
I think everyone does. Yeah.
When did that
That's normal.
happen? Like when is there like at what point was there like too many doctors or too many people or too many people and less doctors? Like at what point was that like was healthcare at any point optimal?
You know, that's a great question because I've wondered myself, in all seriousness, when did that happen? When was there like a divergence from quality of care, you know, and the patient? I don't know when this was, but I kind of think it was around my mid-20s. So I go to the doctor a lot, right? I sneeze and I'm like, okay,
Let's go.
brain tumor, fuck, okay. you
Definitely.
know. Yeah, all of these things.
You sneeze once, you're like,
Yeah.
fucking. It's good. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
This is
Got the casket in the back. Let's go.
This is that. I know this sneeze. This is a sneeze I've heard about. This is the sneeze that kills
Yeah,
you.
this is going
That's
around.
the one.
Yeah.
It's a little higher pitch.
Yeah. Oh, what's this? Sneeze, black magic, voodoo. Okay, I'm gonna click that link. You know, just like all these horrible fucking.
Your
things.
heart is outside of your body. Oh my
Yeah.
God, shit.
Yeah. Like I had.
Google it. You get in a car accident. You're just like Googling, like, okay, I think my arm is off my body. Like, what does that mean?
Those are things that seem obvious, and I would probably skip the Googling at that point.
Probably.
However, I might just double check his.
You never
diagnosis.
know.
Yeah. You know what? Like, because one of the things I have done is like the doctor said, "Oh, I think it's this," and then I've sent them like 4 links, and they're like, "Well, what are the? How plausible would it be these other 4 things that match?" You know, and it's usually like, I wouldn't go on the web, Jordan.
I would just turn off your internet.
Yeah, it's like, well, okay. I mean, you are the doctor, you know, like, but still, there's trust issues sometimes, you know, and especially you want a diagnosis. You don't want just an answer. Like
Hey, I know you want a male doctor, so let's just
well, or 2.
or 2.
You know, I mean,
Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
yeah, this is the.
I gotta turn down my gain on my mic. Look at that. Look at that fucking waveform, dude. Almost like I'm a fucking earthquake over here.
Wow.
Dude, we were talking about this. I mean, I feel like I talk about this every time I drink. I just don't drink that much anymore.
Yeah, same.
Like
I drank at Emily's aunt's retirement party, and I felt like shit the next day.
Oh, really?
Like, oh yeah.
I didn't even know you were drinking.
I had like 3 beers,
Yeah.
and I had 1 Angry Orchard to start, and then that was a mistake because there was so much sugar.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I had like 3 or 4 beers, and I was feeling fine. Like I was just a little buzzed. And the next morning we went and played basketball, and I felt like shit.
just dog shit.
Like drinking just hurts now.
When you get older, I guess
It's terrible.
Because you don't drink.
I don't drink, and it's for no reason other than I don't appreciate the taste. It doesn't appeal to me, and it's just not something I've been into. But it's also interesting as to watch people get older and drink. Like my wife, like when she drinks, she's like, "I'm never drinking again."
Every time.
I'm not doing
It
it.
doesn't matter if it's one glass or whatever or 10.
Doesn't like it.
It always feels the same now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get that. Like, I mean, I'm drinking now because I need a stimulant. I think that's like what I'm afraid of ultimately is like, I'm like chasing a state.
Yeah.
Right. Like for some reason, I don't know if I could do this podcast over, even though I totally could. Like in my brain, I'm like, no, I'm going to have more fun. I'm going to be more loose. The conversation's going to be better.
Isn't that okay?
Is it?
I think it's totally fine.
I think it's fine.
Is that okay?
Here's the weird thing.
Maybe
Like,
that's the
Yeah,
problem.
you know what?
is I
Let's
just-
get fucked up.
Yeah.
I get it's interesting. I was telling Kirsten about this the other day. Like I get this thing like when I'm around people, and who if you don't know me, then you're like, oh, that's weird. Why aren't you drinking? We're all drinking. This is social. You must have a thing against people that drink. Not at all.
Yeah.
Like I just don't.
Yeah.
By all means, enjoy yourself. And it's a weird thing when I'm around people that I don't know or they don't know me, because it's always like, what's this creep doing? Just observing.
Yeah. Like, is he recovering and
Yeah,
we don't
like,
know it?
exactly.
Does he have a
Or
problem?
that's another
That's
too.
probably 9 times out of 10 where
And
they
it's like,
go.
no, I don't. None of these things are true.
You're like, I think it tastes nasty. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the overarching things are A, you don't know me, and B, no matter what, I'm still not going to drink anything because I don't like it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just a weird thing that when you're around these people that it just kind of I feel like the odd one. You know, like but I've my whole life like just always kind of found myself like almost defending, not drinking because socially people want you to. But I say like, if you enjoy it, do it. Now, if it was like, I'm going to stick 5 needles in my arm just to get going for this podcast,
Just to get buzzed. Yeah.
I'd
there might be a little bit of a red flag there.
yeah, I'd recommend not doing it.
Yeah.
But
I'm not going to tell you not to,
Yeah.
but I would recommend
I would just
against
recommend.
it.
To each their
Just
own.
like WebMD recommended me to go to the doctor after I sneezed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to recommend you just don't drink.
And that's just a friendly recommendation. I have
Yeah.
there's no merit.
Yeah.
It's,
I can't prove that doing all that is bad
Yeah.
for you, but let's be real.
it's just historically heroin and drugs, intravenous drugs are not optimal for the
Yeah.
body.
Like when we were in Costa Rica, it was like, well, we're gonna drink, we're gonna like have all this fun, and then we just were like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like we drank a little bit. I brought some edibles in too, so I was like stoned pretty much every night. So
Costa Rica, huh?
that's like my other state that I chase instead of drinking. I do like that feeling better, but even Andrea, like, she just was like, I have like 2 or 3 beers and like just be done with it. Just don't feel good.
What's Costa Rica like? I just think Jurassic Park when I think Costa Rica.
It's good. It's awesome. It's great. Yeah, we went there. It was the rainy season, so like it rained pretty much every day from like 3:30 to 4 until like early next morning. So like it was kind of nice being able to go out and like do our excursions and do our things, and then just have an excuse to sit in the Airbnb or the hotel for the evening. And it was great. We went ziplining. We did an ATV tour, which was really cool. There's some cats in the backyard. It's fine. They're not bears, so they haven't come back here yet.
I told him you would tell him about your bear story.
Oh, I've told it so many fucking times, but we can get there. But yeah, Costa Rica was pretty cool. We got some stuff stolen out of our car. That wasn't a great feeling.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
But everybody that we told were like, yeah, it happens here. Like, yeah. But what the crazy part was, we were eating at this the sushi restaurant, and like it was kind of like outside, basically like all the restaurants are there. They're like half outside, half inside. And like, I'm not joking, from like here to like, I don't know, maybe like a little past where the fence is out there was like our car. So we could like see our car if we just peeked around the corner. And like, of course, somebody still just like opened the door. They took a phone charger and like a jacket that I had that wasn't even a nice jacket. And then, we were just kind of like, don't go out close to night.
It's more like not like you lost stuff, but just like a creepy feeling.
It's gross.
Like,
because we got in and we're like, oh, there's like stuff everywhere. You know, all of our receipts and stuff were everywhere. And I mean, thank God, like everywhere we went, we had everything on us, like on a person, just in a backpack. So that was good. And then the next day, we were going out to get dinner, and we went out before the sun went down, because we were like, we're not fucking around with anything at night anymore. And like, we park outside this place where we were going to get pizza, because we wanted to go to another restaurant, but it was closed on a Wednesday randomly. Don't know why it was closed on a Wednesday, but it was. So we like settled for this place to sit, and we like come out of like the little complex that the place that we wanted to go was closed. And there was these people, like one dude with a face tattoo smoking weed leaned up against our rental car and was like looking on the inside. And there was like another chick with him.
It's inviting.
And like, you know, you're in a foreign country. You're like constantly weighing like, okay, is this like am I being like American, like hoity-toity, everything's about me, or basically like am I being like biased or like a racist thing? Like I'm trying to check myself, but I'm like, no, dude, like he's leaned up against the car, and he's but then I was like, oh, maybe he like works in the kitchen there. Like, I'm trying to make this guy a good guy the whole time. And I like ask him like, hey, can I park here? Because I was kind of parked in a weird spot, but there wasn't anything saying I couldn't park there. And he clearly didn't speak English. And then we sat down for like 2 seconds to eat at this place. And then we just got a weird vibe, and then we left. We're like, we're just going to go back to the hotel and ate at the hotel. Hotel food was pretty good.
Is it the kind of place where, like, if you don't have your belongings on you, then it's just sort of not yours?
Probably, yeah. That would, yeah.
Like San Francisco.
Yes.
Okay.
Even if they're on you in San Francisco, they're still not yours.
Yeah, I mean, like, but like we're getting to a point where there are certain places, like even in the States, where it's just, if you don't have it on you, it's kind of community. It can be, you know, like it's just, you know, like, hey,
it's for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have that. I'm gonna now. You know, like I'm gonna.
Hey,
that.
you're not using that.
No, yeah, it's fine. But that was Hako. That was like a big touristy place that we stayed. What's funny is we did a jungle walk with a couple that got paired up with us who was staying in Hako before we were staying there, because we stayed in a town called Parita, and then we stayed in Hako. So while we were doing this jungle tour, this couple was like, oh, where are you staying? We said we're going to stay in Hako, and he goes, oh, like Hako's dangerous, like don't. Like just, or no, not don't, just be careful. And I'm like, I don't know what this guy's talking about, because I went there, I stayed in Hako like 5 years ago with my family, and I was like, I didn't get that vibe at all.
He wasn't like, you need to stay at my place, it's safer.
Way safer.
Right. That's not a Hostel 4 movie.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to take some pictures.
Good series though.
Yeah.
And of course this happens, and we're like, well, I guess Ron was right.
Fucking Ron Weasley, dude.
Fucking Ron, dude. Yeah, he was, before we went in on our jungle walk, he was on his honeymoon, so him and his wife, of course, Ron is like some burly, like used to be linebacker, super strong fat guy, right? Kind of looked like Gimli from Lord of the Rings, short and stout, but like strong.
So Gimli's really short.
And he was taller than Gimli, and then his like wife was, of course, like this tiny petite girl who like was quiet as a fucking mouse. Like I didn't even get her name. at all. But before we walked in, he's like, "Can we bring drinks in here?" And I was like, "Oh fuck, he's gonna be one of these guys, right?" So he goes and gets like a coconut filled with rum and like downs it before. And I was like, "Dude, we're gonna be with an obnoxious guy." He wasn't that obnoxious, but like of course, like the fucking one American.
What's the like perspective on Americans in Costa Rica?
I would say, because where we stayed, so the first town we stayed, Parita, is like a farm town, like not touristy, like at all, which was which was cool. I didn't get the vibe that we were like frowned upon or anything. Like people were like I would say on the more patient side with us not being able to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
I didn't get that vibe really at all. It's not like going to Europe or something where like
Oh yeah, they don't like us.
no, or like France or something. I've never been to France, but I've heard French people don't.
I've heard they don't like anyone though.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's always baffled me because I've heard this for
I don't think they even like French people.
years.
Yeah.
It's just like this like cannibalistic fucking country where just like we just exist but we hate everybody.
Yeah, like don't come visit.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's not like because of that it's made it somewhere that I'm not like jonesing to
Stoked
visit.
to go. Yeah, I wouldn't. France doesn't interest me either. And apparently now the Eiffel Tower, you used to be able to like walk under it. Now they got it. You got to like wait in line, get a ticket. They got it surrounded now. Like it either got like too popular or they were just trying to monetize it as much as they could.
Yeah.
Probably
So like
that
you can
one.
look at it obviously, but like to get under it and walk around it,
Right.
you gotta like do a whole song and dance about it. It might be free, but it might just be still like a ticket system
Right.
of some sort.
That's definitely not on my list. I mean, like Costa Rica sounds pretty cool.
It was honestly, it was really cool. I would go back, which would be my third time if we went back, because on the other side of the island, there's all these volcanoes
Yeah.
that were like 6-hour drives from where we were at. And we're like, dumb. Nah,
That's not what we're here for.
not going to do that. But the side that we were on, it's just crazy to go to a place like that. And the first place we stayed, Parita, we were pretty close to the beach.
Yeah.
In I guess as the crow flies, where we stayed, we were like 20 minutes from the beach, but like 15 minutes of the drive was from our our Airbnb, which is on a cocoa farm on this like janky ass bumpy ditchy road, and it was fucking like raining. It was like one of the worst roads I've ever driven on. But anyways, the beach, like there's not like parking. They don't it's not America. They don't like try and make money on the beach. It's just like the fucking beach is the beach.
Yeah.
So we're driving and we're like, well, there's the water. How do we get there? And then we just saw like this little pull off where another car was parked. And I'm like, I guess we'll just like drive onto the beach. And so we get there and we get on the beach, and there's, I mean, as far as you could see the island starting to like curve back around on both sides, nobody.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you just don't fucking, this doesn't exist even in like Hawaii, anywhere. Like there was nobody on this beach, and the water was like lukewarm. Felt like bath water.
Weird.
It was bizarre, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any sense that there's this much coastline and there's not. I mean, I know we're down in not in the peak season, but it's just
Seems like if there's just no one there, though, even
It's just
in the peak
bizarre.
season, there's not going to be nearly as much. Even if you go to like LA, the fucking beach is packed
Yeah.
all year long. Like,
Yeah, it's interesting to think that there's actually parts of the world where we haven't encroached like fully.
where you can go and feel like, oh, I'm like away from people,
Yeah.
and away from stuff.
It's a great like thing to think about when you're traveling. Like, what places can you get away with having sort of the peace and quiet, and sort of that naturalistic, kind of perspective of like just you on the beach,
Yeah.
and enjoying yourself. But I had no idea. Like, I was very curious because I've never been, obviously, to Costa Rica. Like, what is that like? Is in terms of like the flight, getting there? Like, how many days is it preparation to kind of get where you want to go?
Our flight was from San Francisco to Miami, and then Miami to there.
Okay.
It's like 5.5 hours, maybe I just say 6 hours, I guess, from SFO to Miami, and then it's maybe like 2.5 hours from Miami to Costa Rica. So it's really not, it's a full day of travel, but it's not like the worst. And we took a red eye, and I took an edible, so I fucking passed out on the flight and woke up in Miami, and I was like, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And then had a nice flight there, and then the flight back was
not so
pretty
nice.
awful.
Like how?
I'm not trying to tee you up to be like, tell me how, and like have me go on this fucking story.
No, I'm
I
only
felt like
asking-
I was doing that. Like, it was awful. Aren't you gonna ask me?
No, I was
Like,
I'm just curious because when I hear awful, like I don't like traveling like necessarily on planes. So I'm thinking it's something with
no, it wasn't. No, it's funny. It's like all the flights were like no turbulence at all.
Oh, that's great.
Which was pretty weird. But I mean, we went to the wrong rental car place the first time,
Logistic stuff.
which added another 40 minutes. Our flight got delayed out of Costa Rica. We made it. We barely made it home. Like by the skin of our teeth, we barely fucking made it home. Having to deal with because you have to go through customs back in Miami, and then we got like, you know, you gotta go get your fucking bag and then recheck it, which is a whole thing I like didn't think happened. I guess everywhere I've traveled, I've gone through customs like on the way back, in Ireland, and I think in Rome, or maybe not in Rome. They do customs there. They have like a U.S. customs like in Ireland, so they check your bags there and whatever. But when you fly internationally back everywhere else, I guess so we landed in Miami. We only had like an hour and 45 minutes to get to our next flight. Mm-hmm. And so we got off. We had to go through customs, which obviously took a while. And then we had to go to another baggage claim, find our bags, and bring it to somewhere else for them to scan it. And I'm like, why the fuck did I pay you bitches $60? I just did your fucking job. Isn't your job to get my bag on my fucking plane? Why did I have to get off in the middle of me almost missing my flight? That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But getting back, for as easy as it was getting there was like fucking cake. Getting back, we got the fucking, we made up for it.
Oh, it's a bummer.
And then, of course, you know, to add to that, you land in fucking San Francisco at 12 a.m. Got to drive an hour and 45 minutes all back home. Try not to fall asleep while driving. Not enough coffee in the world to keep my eyes open, but
it's San Francisco, so there's probably still traffic.
Yeah. People are like, I got to get home to somewhere by 5 a.m., so I got to leave now.
That city is just it's
garbage.
Awful. It is an awful place to be, and I used to love it.
It used to be better.
It was so cool. I mean, I was, it's film school like there. It was just that visiting. It was awesome. That's why I chose that. I love the whole vibe of San Francisco, but it's turned into fucking Escape from New York, Escape from LA. Like it looks like a war zone with shit and feces and needles. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying
it's accurate.
It's a horrific place to be. It's not pretty anymore. It's dangerous.
Yeah. Oh, I have actually a good Costa Rica story. Okay. So we bought tickets to go to like this park, right? Heard that there was like some bridges and stuff there. So we bought tickets online that same day and we drove to this thing. And of course it's like out in the cuts, there's like 2 signs that are like this big nailed to a fucking tree. It's like sprinkling rain. I mean, like all of the accoutrement of like just in a foreign country, janky roads, foreign place. You got it. We fucking make it to this place and it's got these cool like canopy bridge walks, right? Where you're like walking on these like metal grates or like metal bridges that are like just like nailed to the ground, like totally sketch, but like fucking cool. And I hate heights, fucking hate heights. And you're like, this is not, yeah. Anyway, so after the bridges and stuff, there's like these waterfalls, right? And there's like a waterfall and then it goes down to like a little pool and there's another little pool and then a waterfall and it kind of goes down, right? Well, you can like get into the little pools and like hang out before you leave. So we're hanging out in one of the waterfall pools, just chilling. And then this fucking guy, big fat guy with a Skrillex haircut and like spy sunglasses, giant dude, big fucker, like shirt off, gut hanging over. The
real John Daly.
Fucking yes. Like fucking yeehaw wife has got their 2 little shithead kids like, come on, let's get in the thing. And we're like, we're being nice. We're like, oh, you can have our spot. Because there was it's not the peak season. All of the excursions we did, there was fucking nobody there. So we're like, oh, you can have our spot. We were about to go. So they can have it for themselves. So we get out and the wife gets in and the kid gets in. And so they had like this rope that was, you could like, because the water's like fucking moving.
Yeah.
In these waterfalls, right? So if you like get out in it, like, I don't know. I'm not saying
you might die.
I'm not saying that, but like, it's not something I wanted to fuck around with. So there's like a rope that they like kind of had. Of course, it's just like a fucking rope that they just were like, yeah, it's good, right? Because they don't give a shit.
Right.
So as I'm like putting my shoes on, the dad gets in And so as like where the waterfall is like cresting, right? So like if we're in the pool, the waterfall is cresting here, right? And so like there's rocks and stuff here. We all know how waterfalls work. He's like, he grabs the rope, right? He grabs the fucking rope and like starts getting like making his way towards where it's cresting. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy? What is he doing? Like he's like holding onto the rope. Just
Is he trying to scale the waterfall?
This
motherfucker like is now like kneeling on the rocks and like trying to stand, like he's trying to like hold the rope while this water is like fucking moving right over his ankles, right? He's got his stupid,
And he's fat.
and he's got a Skrillex haircut, and he's got his sunglasses on when it's raining, so sprinkling. And so he's got it, and you could tell he's like kind of wobbling, and then he kind of like, so he's standing and he slips to one knee, and then we're like, haha, this is funny, right? Like, good joke. Motherfucker, both his legs go out.
Oh,
he
God.
is now like hanging off of this thing like this, right? Like
Also getting waterboarded.
literally out of a movie. Like this guy's hanging off the thing, and then I'm like jumping. I'm like, like maybe I could help this guy,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, so he's hanging on the thing. His kids are in the back going like, daddy, and he's like, I can't hold on. I gotta let go. Like that all happened. Fucking
Like if he lets go, he's down the waterfall.
he's down the waterfall now.
Deadly fall?
Okay, he was fully extended, and he was maybe my height. I mean, he maybe had like 3 or 4 feet before he hit the water. So
But
like,
you don't know how shallow that water is.
exactly. Now, again, not something I want to fuck around with. So, and I'm like trying to help him, and I'm like, and I had his hand, and then I'm like, this dude's 300 pounds. The fucking water is moving. I'm like, I'm not about to fucking fuck my shit up.
I'm not
trying to help
Superman,
this
like-
moron. And so he's like, I gotta let go. Well, he screams like, I gotta let go. He fucking lets go. We all look away. So I'm like, I don't need to see whatever happens.
Oh no.
So he falls in, and he's under the water for like longer than you should be.
You're like, oh God.
I'm like, this guy's gonna come up with his ankle fucking pointed the wrong direction. Totally fine. And I was like, this guy flirted,
Just hit the lottery.
flirted
Like,
with something and fucking got lucky. It was
But like
so traumatizing.
below, was there any idea of like if there was a current below? Because sometimes there's like waterfall, and then there's another.
So
waterfall or
it
another
just
tributary?
went down into like another pool basically.
Okay, so it was like still.
So like he was fine. There wasn't any rocks, but like
that you know of.
I'm assuming you do that 10 times. Like maybe he got the one lucky that was like, oh, I didn't catch a rock on the way down or hit my elbow on a rock. Like,
Or what about like animals in the water? Like what about like a fucking?
I guess I wouldn't worry about that.
I probably would.
An animal?
Peter, don't listen.
What kind of animal?
I mean,
giant salmon? Like
No,
dude?
Are there not like alligators there? Or anything like
there's
that?
crocodiles in the
Crocodiles?
river. This was like a small.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was maybe like the width from like the wall to a little farther than the wall.
Yeah,
Maybe a
because I
little
mean, if I
farther.
didn't know
You'd be
the
that's
jungle,
so funny. That's where
I
you're
would just
bringing it, yeah.
assume there's something in there ready to eat me, and I can either fall and break, which would be better, like fall, break my body, I die instantly, or fall, totally survive,
And then get eaten.
I go, hell yeah, I made it, and then I get sucked under by the 10-foot croc, and then you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
So that's what my head goes. But then again, I don't know how that, what the ecosystem is like there.
Yeah. Well, he was fine. Maybe not, unfortunately, because I probably would have had to help him out. I mean, this dude's like 3 hours away from a hospital. I mean, just with where we were, how long it took to get there from where we were at and where the hospital. I mean, if something actually happened to this dude, I mean, I don't fucking know what would happen.
Yeah,
I
didn't
don't have
wanna
any
find-
service with your phone.
Yeah.
So you could have like maybe called someone that could like life flight him out.
I don't even. What's the number to 911 in Costa Rica?
Is it different?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Also, I don't
Try-
speak, I don't
try 'em
speak
all.
Spanish. How do I say big fat gringo fell off of
El
waterfall?
Largo Dedo.
Yeah. Man.
I mean, those are scary situations though, because like, especially if you're a panicky person and you don't have all the like anything saved right away, like on a sat phone, like have 911 like ready to go, or like know your networks. Like that'd be just terrifying.
What's
if you're
funny
trying
is
to
this
get out.
guy like came away with, now he's like telling the story like, oh yeah, hey babe, why don't you fucking tell him about the time I fell off the waterfall? Like can't be the first stupid fucking thing this guy's done. And he's gonna keep rolling the dice. And he's gonna get snake eyes one time, and he's gonna fucking eat shit.
That's yeah.
These are the people that fall off the boat on cruise ships.
These are the people that fucking ruin stuff for everybody else.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
It's
also
dumb, stupid Americans who's he's got one foot in the water and he's like, what's the first dumbest thing I could do? Like, can't you just hang out,
Can't you
bro?
just be in the water?
What were we trying to do? I don't fucking know.
I mean, when you were telling the story, I'm thinking, oh, he's going out there to pose for a fucking photo.
That's what I was thinking too.
That would have at least
You know, his waterfall photo. You know, like
fuck, man.
You know, I made it. Hang loose, bro. Like, I mean, like, and
Pura Vida, dude.
like that just seems just so terrible.
Yeah.
Going on vacation, then you're like, oh, this would be so cool to risk my life.
This would be so fucking sick.
Yeah.
What a cool story.
I get a hella likes on this one, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, can you imagine if he slips and his head just hit rocks and then he just limps all the way down.
Yeah.
Like, and then you're like, oh fuck. Like now in your situation, in a weird way, you're obligated to at least acknowledge that he's probably dead. Mm-hmm. You know, and you like have to call at least to like remove the corpse because you're not jumping in. I mean, unless you're crazy. For me, I'm thinking Crocs, so I'm thinking
This guy's croc food.
yeah, like I mean, you know, I look at the kid and be like, just don't look.
Circle of life, hon. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, he shouldn't have been standing there. Like,
Shouldn't have been standing there.
I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. But what sucks is like, in that situation, are people looking at you like you need to be in hero mode?
Yeah, because don't look at me.
Well, like, it's sort of like instinctual, like other person in trouble and I can help. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Like, because, you know, like when you're in a crowd of people, nobody like wants to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, somebody else will do it. But it's like, what is the mom going to do it? Is Andrea going to do it? Are the fucking 4-year-olds going to do it? Like, no. And also I didn't want to just sit there and I don't know. It wasn't even acting. I was genuinely like, oh, I didn't want to know what's on the other side of this. I'm like, I need to help you so I don't have to fucking deal with whatever's going to happen if you fall and you actually hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And now you're going to ruin my vacation.
Yeah.
Now I'm actually going to kill you. You're going to fall and you're going to be alive and I'm going to fucking punch you in the skull until you bleed.
But, I mean, you paint a picture
your
that nobody
daddy's
wants
fine.
to be in.
Fucking boom, boom. He hit a rock. I don't... they're everywhere. It's a crocodile.
You should have been saying
It ran away.
Yeah.
Check the cameras.
It was a rockadile.
Yeah. Wow.
Get it? Yeah.
What
So,
a pun.
but here's
good.
the thing that is fucked up. This is a story like that. I try to not be in these situations ever. Mm-hmm. Like if I see something sketchy,
just disassociate. Like go.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? We need to go due east now. I didn't even see him. I didn't even see him on the fucking.
East. We gotta go.
Like we have to get out of the area quickly because I don't want to be witness
bad
to this.
things are coming.
Yeah, and it's like if someone tries to put the shoe on the other foot, like, well, wouldn't you want the help? It's like, no, I would not go out on these fucking slippery, slimy rocks for my fucking hang loose photo. Yeah. Okay.
Like the question doesn't even apply.
Yeah.
Like
No one else would be in this situation.
Because I was like, oh, there looks like there's a place to sit on the other side of the thing, even with the rope and with my maybe better than average swimming ability. Just, I don't know. I'm better than Andrea at swimming, but she could swim.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even want to go to the other side. The water was moving too fucking fast. I'm like, I'm not about to go there. And then, you know, the rocks are slippery. They're kind of covered in moss. I'm like, I know how this ends. I've seen rockadiles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've seen them.
And not to sound like a piece of shit, but like if, you know, from earlier, my comment, but like if he tripped on you're just walking on the tour and he tripped and impaled himself on a stick. Totally different. I'm sticking around
You're
to help.
sticking around.
Because he didn't.
Sticking around.
He didn't do that to himself.
No, yeah, exactly. But if he's like, bro, I'm going to go on the waterfall with this crusty rope and these mossy fucking rocks.
Literally, dude, it was the crustiest fucking rope. It was like frayed. It looked like it had been in the sun for 40 years.
Yeah,
like
no.
you're getting blisters
It's like
just
the rope
like
from the
barely
Titanic.
holding.
Like-
Yeah, literally.
That's like that is like the building's on fire. Check this out and run through it real quick.
Fucking, that wall dude's gonna come down if I run it.
Yeah, like no, that's stupid because if he ends up burning up and someone's got to go help him, that's fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I have no tolerance for that. But like if somebody got hurt, I would definitely stick around. So I'm not a fucking fuckface.
No.
But
You're also not.
But if you're a
not-
fuckface, then I'll be a fuckface.
right, like I'm just like you know, it's just not. It's like if you're driving down the road and you're with a friend and he's like, "I'm gonna get on top of your car and fucking surf on the freeway. It's gonna be awesome." And you're like,
Whatever happens is on you, bro.
I'm gonna keep going because like I'm not a part of this. I didn't even know you were up there.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm just fucking driving. That is so bad that someone would put somebody in that situation.
Yeah.
To try to help them. Like I just look at it like that. Like it's terrible. Why would he do that to you?
Yeah.
You know,
a dick.
No, I'm serious. Why would he? Like, because it obligates you this fucking weird emotional obligation to somebody who's in a pinch.
Yeah.
Right. What are you supposed to do? You know what you do? You go. Okay.
Literally, he let go and we're like,
Yeah.
I heard a splash.
yeah. And then he was on the water and I was like, oh, please come up, please come up. And then he was up and he was swimming. He goes, I'm good. And I was like, your dad's fine. He huffed too much fucking glue when he was a kid, but he's fine.
It's like Tommy Boy falling off a fucking.
Literally, yeah.
That is.
He was the size of Tommy Boy.
That is horrible.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of Americans on these so-called
Excursions?
cuts tours?
Yeah, all the excursions we did, like the zip lining.
Yeah.
It was me and Andrea and one other dude who was staying with like a family friend in a town near where we went zip lining. He was just there for like 2 months.
Now, do you think that would be like, honest, if you wanted to kill somebody, right? And you're like, I don't want to do it here. I want to kill somebody. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. I'd still want to do it in the U.S. because it's too high tech. It's just too easy to find me.
Way too easy.
Do I book a trip to Costa Rica for my first?
Find some stupid, ugly American.
Yeah, like find
Yeah,
Tommy
he was,
Boy.
He was just doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, and you're like, he slipped, hit a crocodile, fucking, you know, I don't know what happened. I wasn't even there.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I would definitely say, I mean, you could have gotten away with it, especially with us. It was when they came, another couple just left, so it was literally me and Andrea and this other family on like this whole park. Like when we were doing the bridge walks, there wasn't a single other person on these bridge walks.
So you could you could totally get murdered.
Absolutely.
I mean, and nobody, like, realistically, it would be like kind of hard to figure out what happened.
Probably. Yeah, it would take a minute.
Yeah.
It would take a minute to figure out.
For all you aspiring serial killers.
Yeah. Speaking of serial,
So.
can we talk Dahmer, the show?
Let's.
Oh, yeah. I mean, did you guys both watch it?
Yep.
Yep. I finished it like 4 days ago.
What'd you think? Were you in?
I thought it was good.
I loved it.
I loved it. I thought it was fucking great.
I thought it was great too. And it's interesting because that is something that I was hoping was going to stay consistent. With Ryan Murphy stuff, there tends to be some like melodramatic things that happen. You know, like with his American Horror Story, like things get sort of heightened and sort of almost whimsical horror, right? And this is like a very serious guy who commits some horrific shit. My only complaint, if I even had one, was that it was very like rhetorical. Like it was sort of the same episode. And, you know, you go back into his past and it's a little different, but I even think they could have trimmed that down a little bit. But other than that, like Evan Peters is just so fucking good.
He's so good.
You actually are like, you're in for the Dahmer like life ride.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
great.
Yeah, Sam, what did you think? I mean,
I loved it. I thought it was great. I agreed with they should have done like half an episode on his like childhood and everything because
you thought there was too much.
I thought it was like they did like a full like 2 episodes on it.
Yeah.
I think out of 10, what I thought was a little much.
I thought they did one and then they did like I thought they did a half.
Was it maybe
I thought there was one where they did like, or maybe 3/4 of one, and then it cuts to him with like 15 minutes left in the episode in like present day. Maybe I could be wrong, but there was a lot. There was a lot of childhood. It did feel like there was like 3 acts. There was like the childhood, the murders, and then there was like the trial stuff.
But it's not linear.
It was more of the lead up to the first murder, which I was like really into. Like
the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, it was
super tense.
super good. And then after he kills Stephen Hicks, it's like, okay, let's fucking go.
Yeah,
Like,
one of the things I thought was awesome is actually starting sort of in media res-esque approach of like he's already killed people.
yeah.
Like he's already Jeffrey Dahmer, the experienced killer, the guy who's killing men, and it's the first one that actually he gets caught. Like that's
right.
I thought that was great because then you're like, oh, that's what everybody has heard of. They know that how he got caught. They know the whole story. and now you get to see it,
Yeah.
right? And it's fucking gross, and it's very tense. But then the rest of it's sort of like it's just you know what I call it? For me, it's well made boring. That's what it was for me. Like it was only boring because I think I knew
so much
about him that I was like not learning anything new, but it was so well done. I was like, I loved it. I did love it, but it was not invigorating or scary or even really uncomfortable. And the parts where he's playing with himself are very like, they felt like he's really playing with himself.
Yeah.
It was like very sexual and odd. It was more like I have to turn the TV off if anybody came downstairs because I was just like,
I can't just pause it.
I just felt gross. Like,
Yeah.
you know, even though I'm into gross
With the
stuff,
mannequin and stuff. Yeah.
the mannequin was especially weird, but it was well made. It was just kind of not. It didn't do it for me.
I kind of felt that way about the Netflix, like the tapes thing that they do.
I
the
started
Tapes of a Murder.
that a little bit.
I watched the first 2 episodes and I was like, I'm not learning anything new.
But the only reason
So
I
I
wasn't
wasn't really
new
hooked.
is because the fucking show did a great job. Like I
Well,
started the
that,
first.
and we've kind of dove into so much about all these.
Sure.
shows. So we had a lot of
Yeah.
info going into it.
Yeah.
So I just wasn't hooked because I knew that.
Yeah, I think having the show on your mind, like I probably did the same thing as you. Is like I finished the show and then it was like
It was right there.
Up
I was
next,
like,
you're like,
fuck it.
fuck it, whatever. I honestly just wanted to see how well Evan Peters did, and like I mean he did fucking 10 out of 10. I mean,
Yeah.
the
The
dude
best
was like,
part of it. I mean,
It's so.
It was
I also
so
really liked
good.
the actor who played his dad.
oh yeah, he's I mean he's a dad in Step Brothers, but
Yeah, that's what
He's an
we always
amazing-
all know him from. He's done other stuff, but like he was really good in that role too.
great character actor. In fact, the one thing I took away from that whole series and like something I didn't realize about Dahmer that I thought was good, and I'm making it sound like I didn't like the show. I did. I thought it was a really well made show, and I thought Evan Peters' performances I thought were great. Again, it wasn't exciting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's supposed to be because that makes me strange.
yeah, it's a weird line we're walking when you watch it. Yeah,
But it's psychological, horror, right? Anyways, and it's true crime. But his dad, the relationship his dad, that Dahmer had with his dad was almost like incredibly sweet for the circumstances.
Yeah.
And the encouragement of like, do what you're doing, Jeff. Like, do what you're doing and be passionate about it. Like, he fucking took that and ran with it.
yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, I mean, I almost kind of understand where this came from because broken family, dad knows the kid. I mean, they were, if all of this is true,
Exactly, yeah.
he's out there helping his kid get into dissection, right? So then you're talking about a man who's not defending him, but is not fucking crazy. He's just into the wrong things.
Yeah.
And it's not okay to eat people. We know that. It's not okay to dissect them without their permission. It's not okay to murder them. These are all terrible things. Yeah. But he grew up with sort of like, you're good at what you do. You have interest. I mean, the moment he gets to take home the fetal pig is like somebody's helping him become Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. Like the cards could not have been laid out more for this dude
Yeah.
to just
To be
It was
what he is.
The perfect serial killer, like stepping stones.
And I
like
think-
blueprints,
Yeah, it that's what I took away from it, was like, this might not have been just him. Inadvertently, he was built.
Yeah.
And this is the nature versus nurture argument that a lot of people have. In this case, I think there was some fucking nurture.
I think that's safe to say.
And
Yeah.
and I didn't really think about that, and I think that's the overarching like thematic thing, is that like he's a crafted, an inadvertently crafted murderer. Not so much a crazy person.
Yeah, it didn't feel so much.
He's not Bundy.
It was not like cold blood type stuff. Like he had this warped sexual drive, and he just didn't know. Like I'm like quoting the Dahmer tapes because he says this in there. He says like a warped sexual drive, and he just felt emptiness. He felt lonely. He didn't know how to be happy, and like. I'm with you. Like, I guess going off of what the show was, like, I don't think he was crazy. Like,
No.
I think he was just fucking alone, man. And the mind is a dangerous place to be left alone and not cared for, and not, I know this is like the most extreme version of like, I'm not saying like mental health is like the dude shouldn't have fucking killed people and ate them.
Yeah, this is
We
not
all
right.
agree with that.
Yeah,
But
there's-
like, you can't ignore that. Like, this dude seems to be pretty much with it. He's not John Wayne Gacy going like "suck my dick" or whatever he says before he gets
or
the
like
lethal
Richard
injection.
Ramirez, like going into like people's houses and butchering them.
Exactly. Like he had, for lack of a better word, he had empathy. He had like some version of that to get him where he wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I think he was just super sick and like just couldn't stop and just had this sexual. It was all sexual, obviously.
Yeah.
Like to a T. That scene where he's got his hands in the guts and he's like getting all horny and stuff.
Oh my God,
And
yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, this is portrayed so well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I get it. Like, I almost get it. Where like the dude just wanted to be alone, and all he's ever been was alone, and he was ashamed of his homosexuality. So the only way around that was, well, I'm gonna kill you. You're not gonna know I'm gay when I'm, like that. This whole mental gymnastics he did for himself to be like, this is what I want. This is what I'm gonna do to get what I want.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought the show was good. I thought it was disturbing. I know you said it wasn't like horror. Like, I don't know. I couldn't watch more than like 2 episodes at a time. I was like,
I was crushing.
I was like, disturbed. It was like almost Game of Thrones esque, where like there's just so much intense,
so much you got to fucking
emotional,
digest, yeah.
like just stuff, and it's like it's constant. It doesn't let up. Like the grossness doesn't let up. And then we get the Tony Hughes episode, which I thought was kind of out of left field. We get a whole episode basically on Tony Hughes.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I didn't.
I actually
mind.
kind of appreciated.
I did too.
Going into going into the victims a little bit, into their realm.
But that was the big bitch that people had, was like that. This is glorifying Dahmer
Right.
and not and really not paying attention to the victims. And I thought
they did,
guys, but I was like, you guys didn't watch it then, because they absolutely,
because everybody had all the criticisms about the final episode in the trial where they're like depicting the
mom or the aunt,
sister,
the sister,
the sister doing the whole big speech. But it was like 2 episodes ago, it was all about the victims.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I agree.
It's an interesting look at somebody who, like I said, was manufactured inadvertently through social and home life, and really kind of went unchecked.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just a whole lot of like, I want to take a picture. Oh, you don't want it? I'm going to eat you.
Yeah.
Like, or I'm going to rape you and eat you. But then again, it's also not. It's not one of those. It's not a horror film. You have to look at it in the context of a biopic. It's a story. It's a real man, and what might be manufactured in the middle might be what people are irritated about. But it's hard when I can't really suspend disbelief because it's real.
Yeah.
I understand there's some fictional, fictional license taken with it, right? But I know that there is mostly an account of a true thing,
Right.
and that to me is a little harder to like get it. I can't be excited in the way that I watch a like a slasher movie,
Right.
Because it's really a movie about it. These work so much better for me in documentary form. But again, if it wasn't about Jeffrey Dahmer and it was just a guy killing and eating people, I wonder if I would have liked it more.
Yeah, that's like the whole.
Maybe, yeah.
I've thought about that because after I watched the show, I'm like, okay, I kind of want to read on like what the controversy is. Like, obviously we know what the controversy is, but just kind of like get into the weeds about it. And like, it all just came down to like, it was re-traumatizing for the victims, and and then it kind of spun off into this like, well, true crime podcasts do that,
Right.
Like they get some heat too, but like they do it. And I'm like, okay, so what's better or worse or just different? Like, we make a show called Jeffrey Dahmer and switch all the names and go, well, that's,
It's different.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's like, well, the victims, like, there was a couple quotes, like, they didn't ask us. And it's like, what, were you going to say yes? You're like, go for it. Make it. Like,
have fun.
No, you're going to say no. And, people, it's like, what if they made a movie about Julius Caesar and all the people he killed? Like, it's so long, you know what I mean? This stuff just it'll get buried. Like, no one will care. And I'm not insensitive to the victims. Obviously, like, if that was my family member they were portraying on the thing, I would be upset. Like, I don't, who am I to say how they would feel?
Right.
And like where it is tough to find, like where does art become like exploitation, become like offensive? Like this was like on the line, crossing the line, going back and forth on the line. As a viewer, it was tough sometimes for me to watch through the lens of like, like, man, these were real people, like who had real lives and ambitions and thoughts and feelings and conscious, and they got roped into this dude, and it's like I thought it made it real.
Yeah.
I thought they made a good job of like, it made me feel like shit, this was real, like, and that's not just for Jeffrey Dahmer. Anybody that gets killed, anybody that's a victim of a murder or whatever, it's like, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what I was saying, but
no, I get what you're laying down is sort of the quandary, the moral quandary of like, is this too much, but also is it wrong that you enjoyed it? And it's I don't think either of those things are an issue, because I think that like you're not going to please, even if it wasn't real victims, right? You're not going to please the people that find it offensive that you're making something horrific, right? And that's just the reality of like what people are into and what they're not, and horror bothers people. What I think is hard to watch in this case is that it's not a very old crime. Like, this is, still relatively new stuff, right? The horrific manner in which it happened is sort of like, meh. But it's also one guy that we know, and that he also was not mysterious. He didn't dress up. He didn't have a moniker. He didn't have any of these, these things that stuck with him. He was Jeff, and he admitted it right away.
Sorry, this thing is like...
You're good. Move it, yeah.
And he was just kind of an every guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's when people start to go, this is too far, because you know what? This could be anybody. This could be anybody. And yes, the lives of the victims. Like you said, I think you said it well. Like, I don't know how they would feel, and I don't know how I would feel. But if it was a documentary that people tend to go, oh, okay, it's educational. It's about it's a story about what happened. When you fictionalize stuff, you start hurting people's feelings, because you're taking the actions and the things that happen in that person's life and you're turning it into entertainment. True crime gets away with it, I think, a little bit, because as long as you're discussing the facts of the crime, you're just discussing the facts of the crime. Anytime you elevate it through cinematography or make it scary or add music or all those things, unfortunately, it's at the expense. The lives of those people is now part of your story.
As you, a filmmaker, are you surprised that this got greenlit on any level and it made it to Netflix? It's from what I saw, it's like the second most popular show since Stranger Things.
No, I'm not surprised.
Behind Stranger Things.
I'm not
You're
surprised.
not.
And I'll tell you why I think this too. And I've thought about it after watching it. True crime is so fucking hot. You know what I mean? True crime it's just the thing that, and I listen to true crime podcasts constantly. Like I devour it. But this was sort of like, well, we know true crime's important. We know true crime's to the people, right? Why don't we just take one of the most well-known,
go right for it,
right in the fucking teeth,
right?
Like,
name brand.
Because every slasher movie, every like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even like the Babysitter Murders, which turned into Halloween, like everybody's inspired by something. Texas Chainsaw is inspired by Ed Gein, right? But the movie's not Ed Gein; it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which they took the story, the real story of a guy that killed people and then used their skin and made like leather lamps and all this horrific shit.
It's such a sick movie too.
Yeah, and they took liberties and made their own movie, and nobody got offended. Nobody got offended at all. It was scary. It was fucking terrifying. That movie's very scary, and it's just all over the place, right? Emotionally, it's just like a lot to see. And then you have this movie, this very polished series with Evan Peters, that's incredibly well acted, very well made. But you're also doing with a very sensitive America. So True crime is not. True crime is
Especially right
different.
now.
Yeah,
God,
like so. True crime is like Hollywood, right? They're like, let's more money. Right? True crime is important. Like, let's fucking do it. So they just, I think, they went with, we know it's gonna work.
Yeah. It's like that. I feel like it's that Spider-Man meme where they're like pointing at each other. It's like has to like be politically correct, but like also has to make money. And they're like, oh shit, like which one do we do? Like it's both, I guess, or neither.
I don't know how you go. I think it's a disservice. I really do. And this is going to be tough to say, but it's a disservice to water that story down. I think that's fucking worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if you don't want to offend people and hurt their feelings, then you're kind of saying that the victims didn't have it that bad.
Yeah, because there was the part, I think it was maybe in the last 2 episodes where they get to where he was drilling the dude with the. I was like, because I remember when we talked about that, I was
his own lobotomy.
Yeah, and I was like, where's that? Like, I don't know if I need to see it, but like, I gotta have. That's a big part of this.
And
guy's.
it's horrific as fuck.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, here we go. Like, they kind of spared no detail, and I like the Ambassador Hotel thing too. Like, that was a fun.
Yeah.
Like a fun, just the way they did it. And he wakes up, and then it like pans, and the dude's fucking head is all bludgeoned, and
His chest is like concave. Yeah.
I mean, but that's what he did.
yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing is like, if you don't want to see that, I mean, it's kind of like how I've always approached everything. If you're not into it, don't watch it.
Yeah.
But I do think that this was a risk because you have to take something that's real and you have to, they used real victims, right? Like real names. It's like a biopic, which is always a risk because you have to take some artistic license. And just think, I mean, you're sitting there and you're trying to figure out how can I make this scene, nasty.
Yeah.
And it's like somebody lived through that. Mm-hmm. And so I see the side of the people that are super offended, but also I'm kind of, that's a world I like, and it's a slippery slope especially with today's audiences, but obviously the people who liked it shot it to number 2 and Netflix is doing okay.
Yeah.
It's like, there's like a very small amount of people that are fucking bummed out about it. And, you never know what the motivation for people not liking it is. Mm-hmm. Is it money? Is it, that they didn't get a say? There could be a bunch of circumstances that we don't know about, that
when they did the cutaway to John Wayne Gacy, I was like, oh fuck, they gotta make one. They gotta make a Gacy one now. Like I was like, who is this?
I put it together real quick. I was like, oh,
and then they had the clown on the wall, and I was like, that's it.
It's our
did
clown
you watch
boy.
Did you watch the Gacy tapes?
I did.
Yeah, I watched it too.
Those were
that was
good.
good.
So those worked really well for me because it was
So they got to do a Gacy one now.
well, and
They got to.
and that's what they're doing. I think they're just setting up like
Going through all of them.
Ryan Murphy's going to go through a bunch of like a biopic shows of the serial killers. Now you're gonna have you're gonna have the same problem with Gacy, and interesting that Ryan Murphy is gay, and he's going after 2 prolific gay serial killers. So I think there's something there also, and the Netflix debauchery of they tagged it LGBTQ. I think
That was so. Yeah.
and I was like, I mean, he's giving you guys
It's like such a weird.
Like
it feels pretty tone deaf, if I'm being honest. Like this is LGBTQ content. It's like Jeffrey Dahmer is now our fucking flagship LGBTQ. Like maybe
spokesperson.
Maybe put it on the last tag. Maybe not like on the first one. Like maybe scroll a little bit to the end to get it.
Like, is that one supposed to be in there?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it's like
Fuck.
the argument was a bunch of different arguments, and it's like there's not enough LGBTQ content, right? And then there's people who are like, I don't like Netflix showing me LGBTQ content, and Netflix is like, well, fuck, here's Jeffrey Dahmer, the LGBTQ exclusive. Like what?
LGBTQ plus.
Yeah, like
Jeffrey Dahmer,
and you're like,
John Wayne
well,
Gacy.
he's given you.
Yeah.
Now Ryan Murphy's giving the LGBTQ community a really nasty fucking show.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, no, we don't want it. That's not what we want. And so I'm like, I don't understand the the marketing, and clearly Netflix doesn't either of that show, because to me it should have just been, in my opinion, this is disclaimer.
They put it on BET Plus too.
Jordan McClure's opinion only. This should have just been Netflix, Jeffrey Dahmer.
That's it.
Like
Done.
We didn't need
It will rise to the top if it's good.
Yeah,
We don't need to
it
push
didn't-
it.
All the
Yeah.
tags and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
That's when we start getting into the world that we're in. You start tagging everything, and then you're differentiated by your tag. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm more of a like, if it's good,
Straightforward.
if it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't need to do the tagging, but don't tell me it was for the algorithm. It was that they were trying to market this to LGBT, thinking, well, now you guys have your own horror. Like, what the fuck were they doing? You know what I mean? Like, that's how I imagine the LGBT community was like, what in the fuck, man? Like,
Yeah, let's pump the brakes
Did we
here.
ask for this?
yeah, like, I mean, what in the shit are you doing? And actually, I thought it was really fucking weird. Like you, I thought it was kind of tone deaf. But
Yeah.
I also think that we live in a fucking weird time where things are categorized and like people expect certain categorizations. And somebody at Netflix was like, I'm going to do solid. I'm going to do solid for you guys.
Yeah, just some guy got
Yeah.
to the end of the email chain, right? Someone hit not reply all, just reply to him.
Yeah.
And then like that guy like didn't think it was weird when he should hit reply all, and somebody been like, don't do that.
Yeah. It's just
It was like, well, send it. LGBTQ. It's fucking send.
it's
You're welcome.
Yeah.
completely unnecessary. But you know, nonetheless, a really good show. I thought it was kind of monotonous. But I'm intrigued if they're going through like serial killers. Now, on the other token, Mindhunters was
I didn't see that.
like,
That's on my list.
okay, so
Is that a Nolan?
no,
One? Who-
that's oh dude,
That's another famous director.
yeah,
Didn't he do it?
Yeah, it's
Spielberg.
Jesus- no, it's not Spielberg. It's
Mel Gibson.
No, it's not Mel. No, and it's like on the tip of my tongue, and it's like I should fucking know this. David Fincher. And I don't know
you.
why I'm slow, but anyways, it's a Fincher joint, and he produced it. It is essentially the start of the FBI unit, or the serial killer criminal investigation unit of the FBI. Like it's the birth of that, and some of the serial killers that they go after that they suspect of like hitting all these earmarks of a serial killer. Sort of the birth of that. And that's really good, and it's real serial killers. Like they take on BTK as a subject matter, and that feels different, right? Because and
Trying
they're
to
based
take down the bad guy.
and they're based on real characters, like real people and real things that happen. But it's also a mystery. It's also a thriller. It's all these things that are not just gawking. Yeah. So nobody complained about that. I didn't hear the victims mad about portraying those guys, giving those guys, like Ed Kemper is a huge part of that show. Ed Kemper is not a good guy, right?
Don't know who he is.
He's the co-ed killer. He slaughtered a bunch of women. He's a serial killer, and that was.
And also, I'm going to cut you off. Didn't they make a Bundy show with Zac Efron?
That was
Yeah.
a movie.
Yeah, it was a movie.
Very
yeah.
good.
I didn't hear anything about that.
It's better than it should have been, but also
Better than it should have been.
I thought it was very good.
Same idea though.
Yeah.
Where's the outrage? And and again, I don't want this to turn into like,
It's because it's women, dude.
why are people
It's misogynistic.
why are people mad at one thing and not mad at the other? To be honest with you, I don't fucking know. Like if you figure that out, then you actually won everything.
Yeah, from three guys without a dog in the fight. I thought the show was good.
Yep.
I would recommend it to anybody that's into that kind of shit.
Even if you're not, like, give it it's a well-made,
Yeah.
well-acted.
And the acting is great.
Yeah, I mean it's
gross. If you have a stomach, issue with horror, I don't think
There's
you're gonna
not for
last.
you. Yeah.
the stuff where he's like cooking the whatever it was, a liver or something, whatever.
Yeah.
Something. I think it was a heart, wasn't it? No,
then
it wasn't
he-
a heart.
Just the way they escalated and make this seem like this guy was like really fighting with his inner demons to like the only way he's gonna satisfy this is to just
go
eat
full
this
tilt.
heart or cut this. Like you don't like feel for Dahmer. That's like not what I'm saying, but they do a good job of like placing you alone with him in his thoughts, and it's like, okay, I could see how he could get here. Like
Yeah.
genuinely, I could see like how anybody can convince themselves of fucking anything.
Yeah.
And he
I don't
convinced
know that it
himself.
was meant to be scary. I really don't. I think it was meant to be like a
Like
psychological.
graphic, but more, more psychological. Yeah, because there's not a lot of like, it doesn't like cut. You know what I mean? There's a couple like gross stuff, but this, he doesn't. It's not showing him like sawing somebody in half or do anything like that. I mean, it's implied obviously, which is maybe even better for the artistic part of it. If you're, I'm into the gross stuff kind of. So like I'd like to see like the more intense version, like the ramped up.
Well, I don't.
The NC-17 cut.
Exactly the Cannibal Holocaust cut.
You'd have to be there.
That would be.
We might be on the short list of like the 100 people that have ever seen that film. Like.
I told
not-
my brother to watch it. He said he's going to.
It's a badge of honor if you can.
It really
if
is.
You can make it because
Dude, we should get
so
a fucking
gross.
like Cannibal Holocaust like
That'd be sick.
thing, a t-shirt.
You guys made it through the whole film, right?
We did.
We
had to
paused twice.
Paused twice, but
Yeah.
we did it.
It's also, I mean, and to be fair, it's also not. That's also kind of boring in a lot of ways today.
Yeah, it's more just like so like. Oh, are we really watching this?
It was so like anti-cinematic. It was so cinematic. Like
Yeah, well,
like it wasn't scary,
but there's real
but it
murder.
was just like
horrifying, gross.
yeah.
I mean, the talk of the town and cinema history is that they murdered real animals,
Right.
And like
the turtle scene, like
so, yeah,
how is that not a real turtle?
My favorite, it's stuck in my memories when they take the fetus and they just go and throw it in the mud and then they bury it after the lady's up on the thing.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, just throw what the fuck?
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about.
That was like kind of like the beginning of like the shit that goes down. You're like, oh, this is where we start. Like,
yeah, it's a gross fucking movie, and I think that if you can do Cannibal Holocaust, you can do
anything.
I think you can do anything because your expectations are, I'm ready for anything. I can go places. In fact, I would say that Dahmer doesn't hold a candle.
not even close.
Fucking
Absolutely
Cannibal
not.
Holocaust because it's a different thing. It's a totally different thing, and it's a that plays like, to me, that's like the original found footage movie.
Yeah.
Like people discover this film, and you're kind of watching what they're what they're seeing, what the documentarians have recorded, and then you kind of are pretty sure that the filmmakers were like documenting some real tribal stuff that may be weird to us, but it's quite normal to them.
Yeah.
Murdering turtles.
Throwing fetuses into the mud.
It looks real.
It did.
It's
Let
like
me-
even to this day.
Not to hard subject change, not that hard of a subject change. I'm reading this book right now called Empire of the Summer Moon, and it's about a Comanche Native American tribe that was like fucking brutal, ruthless, all the shit, and like the stuff that they did to the whites and the whites did to them and they did to other Native American tribes was like fucking Cannibal Holocaust type shit. Like live scalping, raping pregnant women while they're alive and scalping her while she was alive. Like, I mean, just horrific shit.
What you're saying is Cannibal Holocaust got it right.
All I'm saying is it's a biopic of Empire of the Summer Moon.
Yeah.
But
But you could take a lot of like
just
historical
like
events.
just not saying that it's right, but like, other thousands of years ago, they would kill babies. They would come to, if you didn't have the right bloodline, you're out,
Yeah.
or whatever, and this is a whole nother conversation, but just the brutality of like that, like you said, is like just it's like tribal stuff that's like freaky to us. It's like, well, that was the norm for them.
And we
Right.
gasp. We hear that stuff. We just gasp. And it's like, today we're so insulated with our rules, that we've given ourselves about in society that, certain things are just off limits. And it's like that. Imagine a time where there was just nothing.
Imagine
off
this
limits.
is the thing you get to complain about.
Yeah, like-
it's like whatever, insert whatever bullshit things. Like this is your thing you get to complain about. You're probably okay.
But the same people protecting, and insulating this sort of, to keep you safe from this horrific shit are the same people who didn't realize that had to happen for us to get here.
Exactly.
And that's the part that always irked me is like, you can't pretend that there was no stepping stones, and
It's-
as horrific as they are, to get to where we are today.
It was all. Remember that big? Did you see that big stupid book I got from the library? Dude, I've been like nerding out on history, right? And before we left for Costa Rica, I got this book. It's called A People's History of the United States.
Oh, you were telling me about
it's
it.
700 pages, and it's for chapter 1 is Christopher Columbus, 1492, lands here, and then I'm assuming it goes up to present day. Whenever present, I think it was like 2001 or 99.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I made it 86 pages in the book, and then I returned to the library. Not the point. He said in the book, he's like, this is everything that has happened is all for the sake of progress. It's like literally everything that humans have done is just for the sake of progress, good or bad.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all for the sake of progress. And when you look at it in the lens of that, it's like, well, China is stealing our data, whatever the fucking flavor of the day is, flavor of the week is. It's like, well, it's for the sake of progress. Like, this is just what humans do. They want more, to get more, to have more, just to do it.
Do you think that our quest, or I should say thirst for progress, will eventually hit a wall, and that will sort of ignite the recycle of humanity, and then like, do you think there's a point in which like enough is enough, and then we have no choice but to? And I guess I'm talking about nuclear warfare, because that's the only thing I can think of that war, or the Earth spins off its fucking axis, and it turns out that all of these scientific things about global warming, and like we're heating up, and like the core just comes through the fucking center of the Earth, like something like that, like, and then we're all gone. But then that would be an irrelevant question. But let's just say that our quest and thirst for progress takes us to the brink of nuclear war, the most horrific thing we could probably think of in our lifetime.
Probably.
Right? Like, do you think that that's like a possibility now? Like, or do you think that that's part of the fear that's been driven into us since the 50s or since World War II and into the 50s, and sort of like just that paranoia? Do you think it's even realistically possible?
Yeah, I do. I feel like, we fight over oil.
Yeah.
Imagine when we use all the oil. What if there's no more fucking oil? Like, it's going to be a slow trickle, but I think as long as we're still on Earth, there's only so much to fucking fight over and use from Earth. Like, global warming aside, let's even take global warming out of it. Like, we can only pull so much shit. We're using way more of the Earth than the Earth has
Got to give.
got to give. So, like, unless we figure something else out, we're not going to be kumbaya. That's for fucking sure. That's not going to happen. Yeah. So, I guess nuclear war is like,
it's like the only other option.
A possibility in the next 100 years.
Does it freak you out that people seem to, at least to me, like at an alarming rate, the hate for the person next to you it feels like it's just permeating.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just, you can just feel the rage when you like if you go and turn on the TV and you watch like politicians openly say like, no, we didn't land on the moon, or we didn't, like, where conspiracies are truths, right? And then there's also just the other side is like, some people just take things so far and promise so many things that either way, right? No matter what side of the aisle, or this is not political, but like, no matter what you believe, aren't you going to be disappointed one way or the other?
Yeah, right.
What I mean, like,
no matter
there's
what
really
basket
no,
your eggs
yeah.
are in.
So what happens
here.
when everybody hits that depression threshold?
Yeah.
And then they go, you know what? Hit the fucking button. We're done.
Fuck it. Yeah.
I'm tired. Let's start over. And that's kind of what I'm afraid Putin's going to do. He's going to die or be sick and dying and just get mad and just fucking launch it. Like,
it is scary. Genuinely, it is scary. Like,
talk about a Halloween episode.
Yeah. Nuclear war.
Fuck.
Ducking cover.
I've never worried about it in my life. I've always thought we're too civilized as a world to be on the brink. No one wants to have a global catastrophe.
Right.
But then again, what's that line that Alfred says to Batman in is it Dark Knight Rises, that some people just want to watch the world burn?
Yeah.
Like, that makes me go,
what the fuck?
That's probably true. And it actually, to my core, like, it frightens me, because I think we're going to hit a point. That's what I was asking. It's like, I think we're going to hit a point where somebody somewhere is going to get tired of it and just fold. who has power. And like everybody's got nukes. I mean, there's enough nukes out there. It doesn't really matter who launches them. Like,
Right.
It is strange, this weird cat and mouse, like, oh, well, there's rules of war. You know, you don't.
what the fuck?
You know, it is fucking bizarre.
Yeah,
I heard a thing like years ago. I'm gonna totally butcher the event and the time. Let's just say during like the Berlin thing, right? Or during it probably was during World War II. On Christmas Day, whoever was fighting, they just decided like, hey, it's Christmas, let's not fight. So you can just
decide
go
that.
like, hey, Christmas, but tomorrow
Take the day off. Tomorrow, you fucked.
we're coming back here. It's like that is bizarre.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
that
get
is that is so strange. Like this weird pretend thing that we're doing where we're fighting over stuff and like you have it and I gotta come there, and well, if you're not gonna give it up, I gotta come because I feel like I'm doing my thing for the good of my people, but you feel like you're doing the best for you and I don't, you know, just
and if like you can stop there, why couldn't you just stop forever?
Okay, you just figured it out right there. Like
So what you're basically saying is, look, this is gonna be my last Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's gonna be one of our last
You're
Christmases.
admitting it. Like instead of like, how about like, why don't we stop so we can have like 20 more Christmases?
that'd be way better.
Like if you like this, like we could just not do this anymore.
Exactly.
Just don't show up tomorrow.
So weird. And again, I don't know where I heard that or read that, but I did hear that somewhere that there was some battle in some town where they were like, "Hey, Christmas, day off,
Yeah.
crack some, you know, have a
what
bottle
if
of
it
wine."
was just like a trick?
Like somebody just lied to me.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be the first time.
No. I mean, not to you.
Oh.
I mean, they probably lied to you too, but
Yeah, just the thing I read was like,
Yeah.
just for me.
just for
Yeah.
you. No, like one side was like, "Yeah, we're gonna take the day off." Then they fucking raid them.
Yeah.
That's just smart warfare.
I got a Batman thing to come back to. Did you see on HBO Max there is now an Alfred
I did.
fucking origin
I
story?
kind of want to watch it.
I know it's not for me.
Stop. Just
I can't.
As long as it's not like
I don't need
Alfred from Gotham, like the show Gotham. Hated Alfred.
Oh, are we gonna get a Batman's dog backstory?
Good.
But
I mean,
like Alfred was like a Green Beret or some shit, wasn't he? Like before he was.
He
Alfred?
doesn't. He's fake. Who cares? He's not even a hero.
I don't know, but the
Gonna
like
get on another fucking superhero.
the like trying
He
to
was
like,
a green. It's like it's a fake person. No, he wasn't. It's a fictional character.
it was just ultimately not that interesting.
No, Michael Caine. That's what I'm talking about.
The actor.
I don't know. I mean, that's not. I'm not like I like Batman, but I'm not interested in like milking the characters.
Wouldn't you love to know how the mechanic who helped build the Batmobile, his backstory?
No.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
He's in Shawshank.
It's like
He was in prison for a long time.
it's true. Yep.
What a comeback story.
But that's the problem. Like, is it when you're trying to inflate backstories in a character? It just that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Even though I know every character's backstory was inflated at some point, but if it didn't come with the territory, you're like, oh well, we have a character we haven't explained. We could still make property.
Yeah.
Intellectual property, like Alfred the show, like Alfred.
That was
what is
already.
it?
Oh, that was Wilfred. Sorry.
Yeah, but like, what does he
Yeah,
have?
it's
Like,
Alfred. They're like they get the shows mixed up. He's dressed up like a dog. Like
It's Elijah
wrong
Wood.
show. It's Elijah Wood.
it seems horrible.
Yeah.
It's
And
not something I'm
then
interested
The
in.
Rock is in this Black Adam show. Where did he come from? Never heard of Black Adam.
Well, that's a
Yeah,
DC thing.
It is, and he's actually a really popular. I mean, it's a popular anti-hero.
He's been trying to get that movie made for like a decade.
Yeah, I do want to see it.
I heard it was pretty bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm still going to see it because I still like to see blockbusters.
Yeah.
However, my issue with like this kind of stuff that's happening is that
It's going to be bad. That's your issue.
well, it's certainly my issue. But like, so you're telling me that you know the DC universe is fucking poop,
It's
right?
terrible.
And it's so bad,
poop.
but yet you're still going to make.
That's almost worse than shit.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just
Yeah.
poop.
It's poop.
So you're going to continue to make films that are offshoots and connected to the DC universe, which is shaky, right, at best.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be like, yeah, but just one more.
Just
One more. But
And
now
then-
we'll put The Rock in it.
And then any
Yeah.
characters in this show could potentially have the spin-off, depending on how they test.
Right.
That's
Fucking Alfred.
That's
Did
literally what
did
they're
you
doing.
Hear what the end of the after the credit scene?
Yeah, I know. I saw it all over the internet.
For what? In Black Adam?
Yeah, it's like a decapitated Superman or some shit like that.
How don't I?
That's like
What they make? They finally made a kryptonite sword. Finally, they were like, they've made iron swords, silver swords. We could make a kryptonite sword. No.
Like
No, that's not what we do here, okay?
You're bringing back Henry Cavill, though. You're bringing back the Superman from the universe that doesn't work.
Right.
And now you're saying...
Man of Steel was so fucking bad.
I don't... Like,
Sounds like a good porn name.
I'm sure there's a spoof on that,
We gotta talk about Brendan Fraser, too.
Yeah, I know.
The whale.
Well, yes, he's in that movie. Then I want to see it. I heard it's really good. But also, just we're gonna talk about Brendan Fraser.
I mean, Brendan Fraser's cool.
You want to talk about?
Let's just jump to Brendan Fraser.
Okay,
I
we
him.
do this all the time. I'll go and see him at work
and we just pod at work,
and we just have this funny thing. Like, fuck, this is so funny on the pod, especially because you were coming on. But we were like, I don't even know how it came up, but Brendan Fraser and The Mummy came up.
Well, you were like, "Have you seen Brendan Fraser?" Like, I was like, "Well, yeah, he was in that movie where he had to be." He's like, "Yeah, but he's also just big."
Yeah,
now."
oh yeah, and we were like, oh yeah, what if the new Mummy is like Brendan Fraser is the Mummy, but he's so fat, he is the Mummy. They can't fit him in the tomb the casket thing.
They advertise it as like Brendan Fraser's back, and it's just like a 30-second clip of him in the
and they're trying to okay. And then what was the thing? They got strapped.
The ratchet straps.
The ratchet straps and the whole plot of the movie is trying to get fat Brendan Fraser into this thing and back to his resting place.
His tomb.
Brendan Fraser is the whale mummy.
Yeah, they gotta build a custom. Maybe that's it. They gotta go. They gotta scout and get their parts for the tomb.
But dude, the mummy films, the first two,
awesome,
great movies.
Really?
Like, super fun. Yeah,
they're super cool.
That was kind of
Who plays the mummy? Or not? Well, is there a mummy in the movie?
There is. Yeah.
It's
I don't remember who it is.
Emotep. It's the same character from the original Universal mummies, who's unleashes the
Right.
mummy, the curse, and I think it's what is his fucking name? I forget his name, but
Does he have a scythe or a scimitar?
No, he's just the bald dude.
But it's like
Avatar. Got it. Aang.
Yeah,
That with the arrow.
yes.
I forget his name though.
I'll look it up.
It's like
I've had 2 drinks. I'm just everything's a bit now. Sorry.
it's not Conrad or anything.
Conrad.
I'm thinking it's like some
Brendan Fraser.
It's some crazy
Conrad in the
What's his
Mummy.
name? Victor? No.
Okay, while he's looking that up, we didn't get to ask you this last time.
Yeah.
What are you working on? Can you talk about? Are you working on anything that you can talk about?
Yeah.
Sorry, they're filming Black Hawk Down 3 outside.
I know it's
Backstory.
they're clearly spending a lot of money on it too.
It's basic training.
So boring. It's just him trying to do fucking math.
And fixing the helicopter. That's it.
I said a 3/8. A 3/8 socket.
That's the trailer.
That's
Then you just see him catch it. It just starts wrenching again.
That's a guy doing
so
a basic
bad,
training.
dude. So
Shows
bad.
him just running a mile, no cuts, just him running the whole thing.
It's a slow mile too.
Oh God. Okay, Jordan, I'm so
You
sorry.
just pitched the worst movie ever.
Well, we could get Brendan Fraser to be the drill
Did you
sergeant.
mean the Black Hawk that opens up and then the whale mummy comes out? They're delivering him. That's the whole movie.
But they don't have to push it out. They just it's so heavy, it just slides out.
Yeah. The whole movie is basically them picking him up in Egypt and taking him to wherever he's gonna. I don't know, some fucking palace. Somebody bought him.
To
I don't
answer your
know.
question, the dude. Oh fuck! What is this? I just had it up. Fuck you.
You gotta subscribe to
I don't
IMDb
wanna
Plus
subscribe.
Premium. Fuck.
It's not went away. Arnold
Vosloo.
Vosloo.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy.
That's what it was. Arnold, Conrad, same thing.
Yeah, pretty close.